A few weeks ago, I was struggling about intrusive thoughts on a very personal topic. And these thoughts were quite literally ruining my peace. They were all coming from a place of insecurity. And a lot of the time, our intrusive thoughts, they come from a place of insecurity. See, on the surface level, we see insecure thoughts, these intrusive thoughts, as just thoughts, similar to any other thoughts that we think. But you and I both know that if you let this run rampant, eventually it will affect quite literally every single area of your life. See, you could be insecure about how you're showing up at work. You may think that you're not good enough for your job, but the longer you let that train of thought run, the more it turns into other things. So, because you think that you can't perform at work, you think that you're not worthy of that job you're having, you start to question: Am I good enough father? Am I good enough for my wife? Am I really good enough for my friends? Because that feeling of being inadequate in work will transfer over to other areas of your life. See, our brains love to find connections where sometimes connections aren't needed. So, because you're feeling insecure at work, you'll now feel insecure in your marriage, in your relationship. See, if we don't stop thoughts, they have this continuous manner where each thought connects to the next one. But the problem is, the next one is a more extreme version of the previous thought. So, you will start thinking, Ish, I might not be good enough for my job. Eventually, I'm not good enough for everyone. You never know how you get to the end point, but there's always this gradual increase that you never really notice that things are getting more irrational as you go up, but you end up in that completely irrational place. And if you're a high performer, it may seem unimportant to stop these thoughts. Like, as long as I perform, these intrusive thoughts aren't going to affect me. But imagine how much better you'd perform if you had peace of mind. Naval Ravikant always says that imagine how much better you would be if you weren't so anxious all the time, if you had peace of mind, if you weren't worrying about these intrusive thoughts, if you weren't overthinking about something that you're insecure about, imagine how much better you'd be. How much better would you be in your job? How much better would you be with your children? How much better would you be with your friends? How much better would you be for your wife, for your husband? You would be far better. And a lot of the time, I don't even think we can recognize how much better would be until we're in that situation. With all that being said, let me cut to the chase. How do you stop these intrusive thoughts? How do you go from a place of incessantly worrying to a place of peace? So, first of all, why? To stop these intrusive thoughts, you have to know why you're having them. You have to know the place that these insecure thoughts are coming from. See, a lot of the time we'll have these insecure thoughts like, oh, maybe my girlfriend's gonna leave me, right? And you may think that your girlfriend's gonna leave you is the root cause. But a lot of the time, these intrusive thoughts, these insecure thoughts come from a deeper root that is related only to you. See, here's a rule of thumb. If you're feeling insecure about anything, even if it doesn't directly relate to you, at the root of it, the issue is you. So if you're having this thing of, oof, what if I'm not good enough for my job? What if my girlfriend leaves you? Deep down, you don't believe you're good enough. It's not that you don't believe that person's too good for you. You don't believe that you are good enough. So you need to get to the root of your problem, because a lot of the time people try to change the effect by changing another effect. So you have to look at this world as cause and effect. There's a cause for every effect. So right now the effect is intrusive thoughts. But the problem is people will try change the effect by bringing in another effect. So they will try control their partner, try control everything, not realizing that controlling everything isn't going to change the effects that you're experiencing. You will have to change the cause. So whatever you're going through, your root, it might just be emotional insecurity. You might be thinking, oh, my partner might find someone better. Oh, why would people buy from me? Like, what's so good about my product? You might be thinking your boss will find a better person for your position. See, all these thoughts, they come from two possible positions. The first one, which I hate to admit it, you might just not be good enough. However, the second one, which a lot of the times is more likely, is you're insecure. You're not recognizing what you have to offer, the value you have to offer to the people around you. You don't believe that you're good enough. And once you get to the root, you then need to logically go about it. See, the problem with these intrusive thoughts, the overthinking, is that we overthink. We get these intrusive thoughts continually because these are open loops. See, we have never come to the logical end of these thoughts. You just think that, oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, what if someone finds a job? Then what if this? Then what if that? So it becomes a series of what if thoughts that never ends with then this. So it's always what if, but never then. So you need to come to the logical end of your thoughts. Because the reason why these intrusive thoughts are a problem is because you don't come to the logical end of the thoughts. So naturally, your brain is going to choose the rational, the most emotional end to those thoughts. And most likely, those ends are never the ends that you want. So the way you can do this is thinking about it or journaling it so that you always have reference to the logical end that you come through. And then once you come to the logical end, so let's say your example is why would someone buy my product? The logical end would be I have value to provide and my product is going to make them better. So each time you get that intrusive thought of why would anyone buy from me, you answer it using that logical conclusion because I offer value and people's lives will improve from buying my product. And I'm not going to lie to you, you're still going to keep having those intrusive thoughts. But the more you repeat the logical end with conviction, the more ingrained that way of thinking will be. And eventually, after a few weeks, maybe even a few days, depending on how strong you do it, your default way of thinking is going to be of the logical end. And eventually, you're going to stop overthinking. I've done this many times and in many areas of my life. So when I say all of this, I know it works. I know. I'm not guessing, I'm telling you from experience. So, with all this being said, if you want to improve your mindset, if you want to improve your mental health, click the first link below. Join my WhopP community. It's for free. You're going to see a free ebook there on a guide to better mental health. For those of you who are interested in one on one coaching with me, where we dive deeper into your problems, you'll find it there. But, anyways, it's all in the first link in the description. I'll see you later.